Good morning. We made it to Friday again. Another very still morning out there. On my phone we got flash flood watch for us and other places, Indiana too, but gosh, it's like the rain just skirts north of us or south of us. It just goes around us. So I think we probably had enough to keep up, but we could use a little more, but gentle rain. So today we're going to work on awareness in an energy lock. It's called a bandha, and we use bandhas in yoga. There are three major ones along the axial skeleton. So Mula Bandha, which is the pelvic floor, and Uddiyana Bandha, which is kind of the navel, solar plexus area, and Jalandhara Bandha, which is kind of a chin lock. But today we're going to talk about one in the hands. See if you can see both of my hands. It's hard to know which way to go with this. There, kind of, both of my hands. But we're going to use that both energetically and to help protect the wrists when we are doing weight-bearing poses on our arms. So meet me on the mat. A couple blocks would be helpful. In fact, if you have blocks, let's come to a supported hero's pose. I'm stacking those blocks longwise and short stubby-wise. Bringing the blocks between my ankles and then sitting back on the blocks. So your sit bones are right on the blocks. This can be a very comfortable position and an alternative to the full expression, which is to bring your butt down to your heels. And sometimes that's just a little bit too much on the knees. And sometimes this is a little too much on the knees. Some of my students have trouble flexing the knees this deeply, even though there's not weight bearing here, it's that bend in the knees. But if you haven't tried this, give it a try. And let's do a little warm up that comes from a Qigong practice. So bring the hands together and rub really briskly. So you build up that friction, the heat, tapas, we call that in yoga. And the backs of the hands, like you're really scrubbing off some dirt. Maybe you worked in the garden and you gotta scrub real hard. And then in between the fingers. And then just kind of start squeezing and massaging the hands, the fingers. And then bring the palms up and flick, 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 flick. So we're bringing some awareness to the wrists, to the hands today. Turn the palms down, flick, flick, flick. And then side to side, we'll flick and then let that go all the way up into the arms. Shake, 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 shake. We call it Shakasana. And then bring the hands to the lap. Pause and notice. Perhaps you feel a little sensation now. Some tingling, that prana, that life force energy that we've activated. Now bring your fingertips to your scalp, and we're going to tap here. In Chinese medicine, they say there are a lot of acupressure points in the scalp, so we're kind of waking things up. We work with energy in our yoga practice and Chinese practices, Tai Chi, Qigong. So the meridians or the nadis are places where the energy flows and can get kind of sluggish and stuck, so we're opening things up. Now take your hand like a karate chop. I'm taking my left hand over to the right shoulder and just kind of chopping up and down the neck, up and down the shoulder. And then the other side, chop, 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 chop. I'm not going to do this. I don't think I'll make contact at all, but I want you to take your fingertips, and I'm avoiding my microphone, and tap your breastbone and tap even out into the rib spaces. So nice, pretty firm tap. There are acupressure points here, especially in between the rib spaces for emotional, mental health. And then the thymus gland lives behind the sternum, the breastbone. We'll wake that up so we get some T cells and some boost in our immunity. And now take your fists and just knock on your hips. Knock, 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 knock. And then knock on the low ribs. Knock, 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 knock. And then you can probably see in the side camera, I'm going to take those fists, and it's kind of the thumb side of my fist now. Work up and down my low back. We're working on energy. Feel the energy. And it's like a stream, like a river. It can be blocked. And then if it's blocked, that water becomes really stagnant and putrid, just like our energy. Now bring your hands to your low belly. Sit nice and tall. Breathe into the belly. Inhaling and exhaling. The breath is another way to cleanse the energy in the body, bringing on new energy with your inhale. And with your exhale, all that stuff we've loosened up, we can let that go in the breath. Just wakes things up. Take about 3 more breaths. Deep down in the belly. So we're talking about an energy lock in the palms of the hands, but before we leave our breath practice, we've worked with 2 of the bandhas. The third I don't work with that much, but along the axial skeleton. So as you exhale, lift the pelvic floor and then draw navel back and up, and then tuck your chin. And then release everything. And do that again on your exhale. Lift the pelvic floor. That's Mula Bandha. Navel back and up. That's Uddiyana Bandha, or the flying lock. And then chin lock is Jalandhara Bandha. Release. Do that one more time. Lift the pelvic floor as you exhale. Then the navel back and up. And then tuck the chin. And release everything. So the bandhas are used with breath practices, and on a more physical level, of course, you can feel that that's core contraction to help support the spine. Let's inhale, swing the arms up, bring the hands together, and exhale, draw the hands home to the heart. Inhale, reach up, look up, and exhale, draw the hands home to the heart. Inhale, reach up, look up. This time drop the right hand and we'll come over to the left. Now make an eagle talon with the right hand if you're up here on the blocks with me. And this we'll revisit that as we explore the hand and the wrist. Up and over to the second side. A nice stretch along the waist. Let's do one more each side. So in my tone and strength classes this week, we've been doing a lot of core, especially obliques, so side muscles, and I'm a little sore there. This feels good. Inhale up. Now exhale, bring the hands to heart and lift the elbows, drop your shoulders out of your ears, and push the hands together. And think about a cord coming from the heavens, piercing the crown of the head and traveling through the palate, piercing through the heart, the respiratory diaphragm, and then exiting the body through the pelvic floor and connecting to the earth. I feel that axis that we got going there. And we'll revisit that as we go to day 2. Now keep the hands pressing against each other, but rotate the fingers down towards the earth. Now peek down there at the heel of the hand. Probably the 2 hands, the wrists, the heel of the hand are sealed tightly. So let's discover this Hasta Bandha. I want you to bring the fingertips back up. Now push the fingertips together. Keep the fingers spread wide. So this is just like we would have our hands on the mat if we were supporting weight with the fingers spread wide. And my fingertips are going to shake a little bit because I got that annoying little tremor that my whole family has. I feel that lift in your palms. So there's a little hollow space. Now keep pushing and rotate the fingers down. And now I bet you can see right down through a little hole, clear down to your mat. That's the bandha. Now engaging that bandha is like a suction cup to draw in energy, but it also supports your wrist. So feel all the muscles that are working even in the forearms. Now let's release that and bring the fingers forward. So a little gentle weight bearing here, and we're going to engage the same muscles, that same energy lock. Push the fingertips down into the floor like you're trying to squeeze and lift the carpet or lift your mat. And again, we're going to press more into the base of the index finger, base of the thumb, but feel that little lift in the palm and feel all the support in the wrist. I will continue to remind you of this as we go through today's practice. And if you're new to this, if you're not engaging on a routine basis, the bandhas in the hands, you're going to fatigue in the forearm. You're going to feel some muscles that maybe you didn't feel before. So let's lift, take those blocks off the mat. Keep them close by. We'll use them a few times today. Come to table. Engage Hasta Bandha. So grip the mat. Let's do some cat-cow. And maybe some additional awareness to the sensations now in the wrist, the support, but also those muscles that we're working that are probably going to get tired. That's okay. Let's do one more each way. And back to table. Reach back with the right leg, come onto the ball of the foot, press through the heel, keep those hands engaged. Push down into the hands to protect the shoulders. Nice stretch in the calf muscle. Then lift the right heel, keep it in line with the hip. Now reach out with the left hand, keep the bandha engaged in the right. Bird dog. Now for a little extra balance, lift the shin and the foot of the left leg. So now you're balancing on left knee, right hand. And you're probably getting a wobble. See if you can keep the bandha engaged. And then second side. Reach back with the left, come onto the ball of the foot, push through the heel. Get that nice stretch, check on your wrists. Lift your heel, reach out with the right hand, keep that bandha engaged on the left. Reach in both directions, reach, reach, reach. See if you can still feel that axis going through the axial skeleton, through the crown of the head, piercing the palate, the heart, the diaphragm, and right out the pelvic floor. And then exhale, come back down. Let's take a nice child's pose, knees are wide. Sit back and let's release the hands. So take time today or any time we're practicing to keep the hands and the wrists happy. Sometimes you need to take a break and a little massage, that blood flow going again. And then 2 or 3 breaths just to rest, just to let it all go, open things up, reset, get ready for our next movement. And then inhale, lift back up. Back to table, engage the hands, tuck the toes. Let's lift in down dog. And once you get here, keep the engagement in the hands, but wiggle and move. Find space in your down dog. So in my body, it's easy to feel places to move in the hips and in the legs, but bring that same awareness to the shoulders and the arms and the wrists and the hands. The upper extremities are so much like the lower extremities. Let's find movement there as well. Then come to stillness. Feet hip distance apart, bend your knees a lot, check on the hands, check on the bandhas, and notice if those arms are getting a little more tired than usual. That's okay. Now let's ripple forward into plank. And then back to down dog. So a little movement here, but a way to slowly become familiar with keeping the wrists engaged, the hands engaged. And over time, we'll build those muscles to support the wrist. Now shifting forward into plank. Let's drop the knees. Come down to the belly. I'm going to move my blocks just so you can see. We're going to bring the arms wide. So this is that eagle talon shape of the hands. I have you come onto the fingertips frequently during our practice to strengthen the very muscles that the energy lock is strengthening too. So I call this pterodactyl cobra. So we're bearing a little weight on those fingertips, but grip with the fingertips. Bring your chin down, and then let your back do the work of lifting the chest. And then the gaze unfurls at the end. And then come back down. Let's do 4 more. So now we're working muscles in the hands and the wrists, but we're working on the back of the body too. 3 more. Keep that grip. Unfurled ahead at the end. 1 more. This time let's hold. We'll hover the fingertips above the mat. Maybe even wiggle the fingertips, circle the wrists. And then come down to crocodile. Separate the legs, left and right edges of the mat. Bend the knees and then do some circling through the knees. Bring the hips along. But bring your forehead down to that top hand, the back of the hand. And we'll use the head to kind of massage the hand. So you're going to turn the head from ear to ear, a little downward pressure. I'm not going to come clear down there because of the mic. You can drop the shins and then change the stack of the hands and do the same thing on this hand. Use the forehead to kind of massage the bones of the hand, metacarpal muscles. And then let's come back to down dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana, engage the bandhas. Lift your right leg back and up. Bend your knee. Now bring the knee towards the nose. So kind of arc the back and then lift back up into a 3-legged dog. Keeping the knee bent the whole time. We'll do another. Exhale. And inhale. This time round the spine and then bring that foot clear forward. Help it out if you need to. We're going to stay here in this lunge with the fingertips on the mat, coming to that eagle talon shape in the hands. Feel the axis through the axial skeleton. See if you can stay lined up and breathe. Get your blocks and bring them close to the hands. And let's use the blocks for sure this time. So I want you to bring the blocks to the highest setting and straighten the front leg any amount. And then bend into the knee. We're stretching through the hamstring of the right leg. But notice as you bend into the right knee, you can reach through the left heel. Get that nice stretch up the back of the leg. And then back and forth. So kind of a pyramid to a lunge. Now with your hands on the blocks, so blocks help the wrists as well. We're going to do a little push-up. So down and up, back to pyramid, back to lunge, push through the heel, push up, down and up, pyramid, bend the knee, push through the heel as you lower into your push-up. Let's do 1 more, pyramid, lunge, push through the heel, and push up. Now move the blocks, keep them close, and we'll step back in plank. Lift to down dog. Set up those wrists, Hasta Bandha. Lift the left leg back and up. Bend the knee, around forward, bringing knee towards chin or nose. See if you can touch it. Inhale back and up. Exhale forward. Inhale back and up. Rounding forward 1 more time and then step the left foot forward. Help it out. Set up your forward folded lunge. Bring the fingertips into eagle talon. We're going to push down. Feel that cord running through the center channel of the body, the axis. Lengthen in both directions along that axis. Broaden through the collarbones. And breathe. Now bring your blocks back under the hands, highest setting. You can straighten those arms as you straighten that front knee. Get a nice stretch there, and then bend into that knee. Reach through the heel of the back leg, and then back into pyramid. So we're going from pyramid to our lunge. Guess we're stretching the back of both legs, huh? And now we'll add that little push-up. So lower a bit. Some weight bearing on the upper extremities. And the weight bearing builds bone. So weight bearing strengthens the muscle, but also stimulates the bone cells to add more bone for support. Bones tend to get thinner as we get older, especially women after menopause. Do one more each way. Here's my pyramid. Here's my little push-up. Now lose the blocks. Let's step back in plank. Lift up into down dog. And wiggle and squirm. And then come to stillness. Bend your knees a lot. Engage the bandhas in the hands. And then lift the sit bones straight up. Another nice stretch in the backs of the legs. And you might be a little more open than you were to begin with, and the heels may come a little closer to the mat. And if they don't, that's okay. And breathe. Now take your gaze between the hands, and let's try to take 2 big steps to the top. So 1, 2, or more if you need to. Keep the knees bent a lot. Lay your belly and your ribs down on your knees. Let's wiggle through the wrists and the fingers. Maybe even a little massage. And then grab opposite elbows here and just hang. Maybe sway a little side to side. Now drop the arms down like elephant trunks and walk the fingertips over to the right, keeping the knees bent a lot. We'll do sunflower. So rising up slowly, so you're like a sunflower. And then as you come up, arms stay heavy and your face turns up towards the sky, just like the sunflower. And then roll down the other way. Bend the knees. And come up again this side. Keep the knees bent. Arms are heavy. Gaze goes up like a sunflower. And over the other way. Let's round up this time and stay. Inhale, swing your arms up. Bring the hands together. And exhale the hands home to the heart. Let's do 2 more of those. Inhale, reach. Feel that connection to the earth through the feet. To the heavens through the crown of the head. One more time. Inhale, open the arms. Lift the heart. Lift the gaze. Let those arms fall back and open the front chest. Breathe. And exhale your right arm over your left. We're going to give ourselves a big hug. So curl the fingertips back, push your shoulders down, breathe between the shoulder blades. Extend the right hand out, palm up. Let's take the fingers and release the hand and the wrist a bit. Drop the shoulders down. Take your left ear to your left shoulder. I know we all do a lot of flexion in the wrist and the fingers and the hands with the work of the hands during the day, so this is a little counter stretch. So release, bring the hands to heart center. Inhale, open, lift. Wide open to the heavens, and then swing the arms forward, left arm over, right? Give yourself a hug. Breathe. Extend the left hand out, palm up. Reach out there for the fingers, pull and release that arm down, shoulders down, right ear to right shoulder. And breathe. And release. Now let's step nice and wide. We're going to come into Goddess first of all. So dig your heels in and then externally rotate your feet a bit. So the toes are pointing at about 11 and 1 on a clock. And then come straight down with the hips, bending the knees, keeping the knees reaching open, reaching wide, not letting the knees bow inward. Bring the hands to heart center. Maybe you squat a little deeper. Feel that cord coming right down through the center of the body. Push the hands together. Feel everything coming towards the midline. Except those knees, they're going to reach open. Maybe you squat a little deeper. See if you can engage the bandhas of the hands here like we did when we started. You can even take a check there, flip the fingertips down. And breathe. Shoulders are heavy. 3 more breaths here. And then as you inhale, shoot those hands straight up, straighten the legs, lift the gaze, open the arms. Now you're in the shape of a star. Take your hands to your hips. Now we'll come into Prasarta. So dig the heels in, turn the toes so they point forward. Feet are parallel. Take your hands take them to the top of your thighs, so right where you run into your underwear. And that's where the movement happens in this. So lean back, we'll take a little heart opener. Those elbows can come back towards each other. Now fold forward. The movement is at the hips. Fold forward until the heart is parallel to the earth. Keep reaching the feet away from each other, actively pulling them away from each other. Get your blocks. And you can adjust the setting, but walk them so the wrists are right under the shoulders. And if bringing hands down to the mat works for you, do that. Just don't round through the spine. Try to keep that nice long axis. Engage the bandhas if the hands are on the mat. With the blocks, it's nice, and we're not really bearing a lot of weight here, but you can curl the fingers, all the fingers and the thumb, kind of around the edges of the blocks, and you can sort of engage that by just gripping the block. Let's do some push-ups here. So exhale down, inhale up. Let's do 10. That's 1. Here's 2. 3. So gentle weight bearing. 4. Keep pulling those legs away from each other. 5. 6. Elbows point right underneath you. 7. As the arms lengthen, the eyes of the elbows, the inside of the elbows kind of point over the thumbs. I've got 2 more. Last one. Now bend your knees a lot. Take your hands to your thighs. Find that axis again. As you inhale, really pull those legs away from each other. As you rise up, the movement happens at the hips. Inhale the arms overhead. Take the gaze up with the arms. Look at the thumbs, maybe engage the bandhas so you can see through that little space. And exhale the hands home to the heart. Let's come back to goddess. So dig the heels in, maybe one at a time. Externally rotate the toes and come back into your squat. Hands right up there at the hip crease. Maybe a little lower this time. Inhale, swing your arms up. Exhale, come into goddess. Let the palms face each other and keep the elbows wide. Now next, exhale, drop the elbows towards the hips. Moon God. And next, inhale, extend the arms out wide with the palms up. Sun God. All the way back overhead. Back to goddess. Moon God. And sun God. Let's do 2 more rounds all the way up. Goddess. Try to keep that axis. Moon God. Sun God. One more time. Goddess. Moon God. Sun God. Now arms up, legs straighten. Bring the hands together. Exhale the hands home to the heart. Back to Prasarada. One more time. Dig your heels in. Rotate. Pivot on the heels so the feet are parallel. Lift your kneecaps. Keep that engagement to protect the knees. Now we're going to swing our arms up. Take your hands behind you. Lace your fingers. Keep the elbows bent a bit here. Keep that axis, but draw the elbows towards each other. Push the knuckles down. Lift the fists away from the low back. Fold forward here. Let the head hang. Reach way up there with the fists. Keep pulling the legs away from each other. Keep the kneecaps engaged. You can even bring a soft bend to the knees here. Now release the hands and find the blocks again. See if you can stack those blocks to meet your forehead or even the crown of your head. So if you can bring the crown of your head down, that's good too. And then the hands just hang. And breathe. This is a nice inversion. Our head's lower than our heart. And this is calming to the nervous system. And you can feel it. I can feel it. There's receptors, baroreceptors in the carotid arteries and in the aorta coming from the heart. And when we're in this head down position, this inversion, that increased pressure that you feel in your head tells those receptors that we need to quiet the nervous system. Now bring your fingertips forward back to that eagle talon so the wrists are right under the shoulders. Bend your knees, take your hands to your thighs. On an inhale, rise up. Let's heel toe the feet together. And lay the blocks out there. Inhale, swing the arms up. Exhale, bring the hands together. See if you can engage the bandha and draw the hands home to the heart. Let's do a little balance while we're here. Then we're going to come down into a squat. So let's come into tree. We'll start on the right leg for balance and open out into your tree, Vriksasana. Place your left foot wherever it works for you today. Bring the arms wide, stay broad through the collarbones. Feel that axis through the Sushumna. Breathing up and down the axis. And then let's take the second side. So gently coming back to mountain pose, Tadasana. Maybe you pedal the feet out a little bit. Take the weight to the left. Let's find our tree on this side. And our tree on this side may look real different than on the other side. Now try to grow up out of that left hip. Long, long, long body. The tree's growing. Maybe you lift your arms like branches. Maybe you wiggle the fingers like leaves in the breeze. Circle the wrists. And then draw the knee forward, point the toe, and come back. So walk your feet wide and stack those blocks like we did at the beginning of class. You're going to turn the toes out. So we're not quite as wide as we were with Goddess, but we're going to come down in a squat. The blocks will help. Adjust your feet when you get here. And if coming down this low isn't working for you, you can stay in a high squat with your forearms just like this and bringing the fingertips to touch. Feel the sit bones. Just place your hands wherever, opening through the front chest, staying broad through the collarbones. Feel that axis through the torso. Breathe. Bring your hands together, and we're going to bring elbows inside of the knees. We're going to push the knees into the elbows, resist with the elbows, and bring the hands to heart. Now draw everything towards the midline, reaching up through the crown of the head. Engage the Hasta Bandhas. Breathe. Now release the hands to the floor, lift your bottom, take those blocks away and set them off to the side. Now walk the feet heel toe underneath the hips. This is Hasta Padmasana, I think. So I'm going to lift my right foot and I'm going to slide my whole hand under my foot. So now my toes are right at the heel of my hand, right at the wrist. Do same thing, second side. So we're going to use the feet to massage the hands. Bend the knees as much as you need to. And breathe. Let your head hang. Now look forward and lift the sit bones any amount. So a little halfway up. And then exhale, soften the hips and release the hands. Step back and come into down dog. And breathe. Engage the bandhas. Now exhale, come to table. And come out onto the mat. So you're going to lie down. That was a really awkward cue. So lie down, lie on your belly. I'm going to take my right knee and bend it. So like half of a frog, okay? And then I'm going to push down in my right hand so I've got some space under here. And take my left arm through and thread the needle. Now the head can come down to the mat or you can support your head on the block. Reach up with your right arm. Feel that axis again and see if you can start this twist with that axis in mind. Now as you start to twist, you may decide to lose that block or maybe not. So it just depends on how far into the twist you can go. If your arm's hanging out here like mine is, shorten the lever. Bring the hand to the hip. Breathe. See if you can turn along that axis. Then unwind. Come back to the belly. And we'll take the second side. So left knee up and out. Press into the left hand so you can thread the right arm under. Feel the axis and rotate along that axis. Shorten your lever, the lever of the left arm, if your arm's just hanging out in space. And breathe up and down the spine, up and down that axis. And unwind again. Come back to the belly. Press up and meet me in a seated position. Actually, let's do some bridges. So we're going to skip the seated poses today and come to bridge. Keep the blocks close by. And as you come to the back, feel that axis again. So the cord is piercing the crown of the head, traveling down into the skull, piercing the palate, traveling into the torso, piercing the heart and the diaphragm, traveling through the abdomen and exiting the body through the pelvic floor, through the Mula Bandha. Take a few breaths up and down that axis. Give your hands and wrists a little love. Let's come into a supported bridge. Lift your hips, slide your block underneath the sacrum. And if you don't have a block, a sofa cushion can do, just something to lift you a bit. Let's turn the palms upward and see if that feels good. Usually that brings a little more opening to the upper chest. It almost always feels good to lift one shoulder at a time and tuck your shoulder blades, bringing those shoulder blades behind the lungs, behind the heart, like hands. Now maybe you come up a little higher. You decide you can take this block to the next highest setting, coming into a little more extension. And if you don't have any support under the back, you can just do some bridge poses, lifting up and down. A little more active bridge pose. And then if you have the space, you can lift way up here and come up on the highest setting. That may mean that you need to stay on the balls of the feet. If you're up here with me, lift the back of your head, tuck your chin, and then lay the skull down. Now you've made a little more space in the cervical spine and you're not all bunched up. So notice we're coming a little higher onto the shoulders, more towards the shoulder stand. Now if you're on the support, release it, but come back down to the shortest, the smallest setting. And then lift your knees. I like to hook my ankles. I like this, but you can also do a supported legs up by extending the legs up towards the ceiling, reaching through the heel. So that's effort for me because my hamstrings are tight. I'm just going to come here. So this legs up. Pose is another restorative pose. You can stay here with me for the next couple of moments in our Shavasana, or come into a shape that you choose to relax and rest. Get ready for the day. Let everything just kind of marinate and sink in. If you're still up on the block, lift the hips and remove that. Just let the sacrum come down to the mat. Pause here in a nice neutral spine. How does the energy feel in the body now? Is there a sense of flow? Maybe you notice places where things feel a little stagnant and blocked still, so just notice. Let's reach long on our inhale. Wiggle the fingers, maybe a little yawn. And draw your knees into the chest. Maybe curl up here. And let's come up onto the sit bones in whatever way you decide. If you want to come to the side or just rock up, you choose. Back to a seated position. So I hope you enjoyed learning about the energy lock in the hands. We also have that same place in the feet. In Chinese and Qigong Tai Chi, we call this the Laogang point. In yoga, we call it Hasta Bandha. In Chinese, Tai Chi Qigong, the places on the feet are called the bubbling springs. And in yoga, it's Hasta Bandha. Pada because pada are feet, so those energy locks. One thing I didn't mention is, this kind of stayed more with the physical benefits, but there's also energetic benefits. So it's like a little suction cup. We're drawing energy out from the earth as we have the hands facing down, or we can also draw energy from the sky. So let's reach up one more time. Grab what you need as you exhale. May you have peaceful thoughts, peaceful words, a peaceful heart, and a peaceful world. Namaste. Have a great weekend. I will see you one more time before vacation, Monday, 7 a.m. I hope you can join me again. Thanks.